to another podcast from Odell Technologies. Delighted to be joined by the EIT Irish team and Shona D'Arcy and Patrick Reidy. Good morning.
Morning, Steven.
Morning, Steven. Thanks for having us.
Very, very well. Thank you very much for joining us today. So I think, firstly, could we start with an introduction about yourselves and how you ended up here today? So Shona, I might ask you to do that first.
No problem. So I'm Shona D'Arcy. I am a startup. I'm an ex-founder. I had a startup in the health tech space looking at children's speech and language services within public health systems. I have an academic background. I essentially spun out my research. So I kind of have experiences at nearly all levels of the startup health tech lifecycle. Unfortunately, I found one of those areas that didn't really achieve the unicorn status. So now I'm in EIT and helping founders find the right programs for them, and just giving a little bit of my experience over my journey, especially to the newer founders.
And Shona, where are you based in the world right now?
Based in Dublin.
Perfect. Patrick, a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, so in my current role, I'm the collaboration lead with EIT Health Ireland-UK. Have been in that role just over a year. And so in that role, I work with our partners from industry, academia, from clinical sites, and help them, I suppose, join the dots and look for methods for collaboration between them. Prior to joining EIT Health, I've worked with a number of different research centres here in Ireland. So again, a lot of experience in building academic industry partnerships within the centres that I work with. And then prior to that, I worked in industry. I worked with multinationals, SMEs. So I've kind of a broad experience, but the core of that has been sort of building partnerships, building relationships over many, many years.
And you talk of partnerships. Can you tell me a little more about partnerships, please, with regards to EIT?
Yeah, so I suppose like EIT Health, we're a strong sort of partner organisation. So we often talk about the knowledge triangle. So we would have partners from industry, from academia, and then from clinical settings as well, like hospitals and healthcare providers. And I think it's vital that you have those three different perspectives in a room talking to each other to understand the challenges in healthcare, health tech, because I think the challenges that are there are probably too big for any one particular group to find the solutions themselves. So I think you need to have the different perspectives, different voices in the room. I think we're the ideal platform to bring those sort of disparate voices together and give them the opportunity to meet each other and to understand where they can help each other out, really.
Okay, we'll come back to that, Patrick. Now, Shona, let's talk about open innovation, if you wouldn't mind. Can you explain what open innovation is in regards to EIT, please?
Sure. So as Pat said, we are a partner organization, and a large cohort of that is the startups that we work with. So we engage with startups at all stages of their development and commercialization journey. But we know that also our enterprise partners, they have problems they're trying to solve. And because of our deep network of startups across the whole of the EU, we are in a position to find the best startups to address any problem that an organization might be looking at. So the Open Innovation Programme is a needs-led programme that comes from our partners. We have had examples of companies looking for solutions around detecting IBD, irritable bowel syndrome, flare-ups remotely. So it's companies that are delivering the medication or delivering the services to the hospitals, and they're looking for new ways of innovating. And we had a call out, I think, early this year. We had 10 startups come in. We did a program of supports to make sure that they were all at the right point to pitch to the companies. And then there was some good collaborations grew out of that. So we can do that around any type of needs-less request that comes from companies that are looking for solutions. And we find that we get a range of applications. So just because it was an IBD biomarker, we had people with breath analysis and other type of digital biomarkers. So we're really trying to get innovative ways, not just new ways of doing things. So very often we'll get a company working in one area and they find that they're able to adapt or modify their technology for another area. And they've shown that they can deliver. So they're really good opportunities, really, really good programs, get our startups in front of people who genuinely have that problem and more than likely have money to pay to solve it.
Okay, so Shona, can you share an example of a successful healthcare solution or a project that's emerged specifically from one of the open innovation frameworks?
So again, it was that IBD, and I can't really name the
Yep.
companies, but the IBD solution that eventually arrived was a home-based stool sample analysis. So instead of people coming in every 3 or 6 months, which is just easy scheduling, they actually just came in when it was clinically necessary based on the biomarkers that they were able to decide. And this means that the company who is delivering the services are able to be way, way more efficient. They can reduce waiting lists and give better care so that when you do have a flare up, you're going to get in to see the doctor as soon as needed rather than that waiting list.
Perfect. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. Now, Patrick, you talked about partnerships before. EIT operates in a highly interconnected ecosystem, and I was wondering how you facilitate cross-border collaboration between partners in Ireland and the UK and the rest of Europe. How does that work?
Yeah, so we would have we've an ecosystem of 8 different hubs. So Ireland, UK is just one, and within that we would have the support. So what I have found in my time is that it's very organic. So in my role as collaboration lead, I have a counterpart in the 8 other hubs. And also like a similar with Shona's role in entrepreneurship lead, we would have a similar role in all the hubs. So within those, within all of our partners, we've got a single point of contact. And if we need to speak to somebody in that, I can reach out to my colleagues in Germany, Austria, Poland, Scandinavia, and create those sort of organic introductions. So like even for speaking to somebody like yourself in Odell, Stephen, as you've seen since you've joined, it's very much, one-to-one matchmaking. It's a very much the soft introduction. And even if the right point of contact isn't there at first, they're happy to delve into an organization to actually try and find the correct point of contact. And we do it as well. Like we do have a lot of face-to-face, a lot of opportunities for matchmaking for projects that are in person. So you're starting to build your network from a very, very early stage, not at the point you're trying to build a consortium, you're doing it far in advance of that,
Okay, so I think this is a question for both of you. How do patients and clinicians and startups work with you? How do they get to work with people like yourself?
Yeah, so I suppose from my point, Shona, do you want to go ahead?
Go ahead.
So I guess I can speak from the startup perspective. As I said, we run several programs across the year to support startups. So we have boot camps for women in health tech, regulatory boot camps, biotech, and they're very useful for particularly early stage researchers who might be considering spinning out of university, and they really help you focus on what your journey is going to be. You can go onto our website and participate, sign up for our newsletter. You can also just reach out to me. I'm always here to have a 30-minute, hour-long conversation about your plans. We do leverage a lot of our expertise, so we have mentors that we can put people in contact with. And our job really is to see startups succeed and put them in contact. And it's like what Pat said, sometimes it's informal, where it's just, I know someone to chat to that you could talk to, and sometimes it's formal. We do have programs, but they're very competitive, and we're always warning people that you join us, you come into our ecosystem for the network and for the supports that you can gain, not necessarily for the funding. And I think that's so the startups can get access to an ecosystem. So our networking events, have proved really successful this year. Our couple of Irish guys we brought out to Santander have all had meaningful next steps with hospital groups on the back of those networking events. So it's you can't, and I think everybody knows this, you can't underestimate the power of networking.
Patrick?
Yeah, so like certainly from my side as well, like we would love to have more clinicians, people from different hospital healthcare providers on board, and we do quite have a good network in Europe, and they're typically linked to maybe a teaching hospital or whatever. But I would say that if people want to get involved, again, reach out to the collaboration lead within their area. If you go onto our website, you'll see them. They're quite visible, and even through the likes of the Open Innovation Program. So as Shona sort of described very, very well, you know, if they have a clinical area that they would like to find startups, the way the Open Innovation Program is set, so you have to have a clinical partner and an industry partner. So you're maybe bringing like the likes of a large pharma company plus a healthcare provider together, then looking for the startups in that area. So it's very well set up to do that as well. So I would say get in touch with your sort of local hub, be it, you know, from Scandinavia to Spain to Poland into Eastern Europe, and we'll start the conversations from there. We are a member organization, so there is a fee involved, but it's not obtrusive either, you know.
Absolutely. So what are the best ways for innovators to get involved with you? How do they do that?
How would innovators get involved? I would say firstly, we have quite a broad range of programs, but I would say in the first instance, you know, get in contact with us and we can actually try and navigate the correct point of entry into EIT Health, because we're a large organization. There are many programs from the education side of it, which we haven't mentioned at all yet, where we would work with universities to you know, maybe transition some of their existing content onto an online format that's available for continuing professional development for either people working in healthcare settings or people working in large, you know, medtech organizations like your Medtronics, your Bostons and stuff like that. So it's very, very broad, so we can help identify the correct point of entry for those people as well.
Okay, perfect.
Just to add to that, I think it's really important to know what you want from us. So we have a range of ways of supporting startups and innovators. But is it commercialization? Is it access to a healthcare group? Is it about access to a biobank in a different country, or getting access to you know, cancer cells from a large population of people? We have a really, really deep reach into the health tech ecosystem in Europe. So it does help us if you know what you're looking for. So where can we put you into our kind of range of supports? And our goal really is to see commercialization of health tech in Europe to improve patient outcomes across Europe. So our goal is to support that. We also do a lot of matchmaking for non-EIT health programs. So the Innovative Health Initiative, the Health EU for Health. There's lots of resources or initiatives coming out. There's a cancer call that is open at the moment. So we're able to. So if you come to us and say this is what we're looking at, we can go out and find you those partners, and that's our role.
Okay, so are there any upcoming events or activities that you're involved in that you'd like the audience to know about?
Unfortunately, we're kind of coming to the end of our year, so we're kind of wrapping up a lot of what we're doing, but everything will start to be announced again in January. I would say the first thing that will open will be our boot camps. So particularly any early stage innovators or researchers thinking about spinning out, have a look on our website and look at those boot camps. They're really good opportunities to just take that time and really think about, is this what you're going to do? Are you going to spin out your research? What do you need to do that? And you can allocate, you know, a couple of hours a week as you go through the boot camp to focus on it. And I think there will be more calls, but it will be later. It'll be February, March by the time they're all released, and we're not allowed to talk about them until they're out.
That's all right. That's all right. Patrick?
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, we have one call that's open at the moment for startups as well, Shona. It's again the transformative health instrument. There's a very set criteria to get involved in it, but it's still open. But I think the deadline is very early in January, so it may not be the correct time at the moment to join. Also, our catapult program for startups is running at the moment as well. And I think in the next week or two that you'll see sort of the online pitches will be made available. So I would say check our website to get a glimpse into some of the startups from across Europe that are pitching in 3 categories from medtech, digital health, and biotech as well. So I think that might be of interest to people as well, and to see the breadth of activity that is taking place, you know.
I'd ask you both to finally tell me what actually motivates you to stay inside of EIT and do the good work you're doing. I might start with yourself, Shona.
So I love speaking to startups. I love speaking to founders. I love hearing their amazing ideas. Some of the technology that comes across my desk is phenomenal. The passion of founders, and having been there myself, if there's any way that I can lessen their burden or their stress, then I'm always happy to do that. And then when you see a startup being successful, maybe in one of our calls, or just getting a contract or a pilot with an organization in a different country, that's our bread and butter, and it makes everything worthwhile.
And Patrick, what about your good self?
Yeah, so like I think for me, and not to sound corny, I think it's just trying to make a difference, you know. Like I don't come from a healthcare background. I come from the background of joining the dots and maybe spotting opportunities. And you know, and especially I saw when I worked in academia that, you know, things can become very siloed, whereas I tend to sort of look at systems thinking and where I can plug people into projects or just introductions that I know that by doing so they will actually have a better chance of success. So I think that's very much for me what I enjoy doing. I enjoy making that difference, helping to join the dots and sort of create those linkages. And like it's been amazing, as Shona said, like we've seen it already, like in a short space of time, creating those introductions. And like, you know, the chances of getting funded, again, it's a competitive process. But even if a company isn't funded, it's the connections that they make with the healthcare providers, with the payers in different countries, with the health economic experts, with the market access experience like Odell, you know, regulatory requirements. I think that's what makes such a difference. It's those introductions, those sort of points along the road where they pick up that expertise. I think that's vital, and I really enjoy doing that.
Well, thank you very much for both of you. It's been a pleasure learning more about EIT today and the work that you're being doing and the work that you plan to do in 2025 in Ireland and across Europe. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your expertise and your passion. To our listeners, we encourage you to explore the opportunities with EIT Health offers and consider how you might contribute and work with these wonderful people. The email addresses and the contact details will be after the conclusion of this podcast. So again, thank you very much, Patrick and Shona.
Thank you, Steven. It's been very enjoyable.
Thank you very much, Steven.
All right, guys. Well, lovely to see you again, and I wish you both the very best of luck. And no doubt we'll be catching up with you during the course of the year.